What is up? Welcome back to another review episode with Couch Talk. Uh,
Hey, Hero
Today
Academy!
yay, season finale
The
of season
finale!
2.
Okay, wait, I just want to address that this is a pure review. This isn't like a reaction or anything. This is post viewing discussion.
Yes.
Just to make that clear.
And we're going to be breaking down the episode.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we'll give our final thoughts on the overall episode
We'll do thoughts,
and our
like
score.
predictions, stuff like that. But anyway, let's jump into it, I suppose. Well, let's get the big thing out of the way first. Season 3 confirmed.
Yes, that
Woo!
was part of this episode. Was confirmed.
Woo!
Also, before we instantly get into it, be sure to comment and let us know, like, if you agree with us or disagree with us or anything like that. And
Yeah.
we'll be viewing the comments afterwards. So
Yeah, also, like, if you guys enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe, like, if you really enjoy it, because it helps us know, like, if we're doing well or not. Even comments saying, like, hey, that was enjoyable. Or even if you're like, hey, why didn't you talk about this? Stuff like that's good, too. Like, just any feedback would be awesome.
all right, now let's do this.
All right,
Season
let's
finale.
jump in.
Encounter, I believe, is the name
Encounter.
of the episode.
So, I remember last discussion, I said basically like 300 times. I'm going to try and not do that.
So
We-
basically, what happened?
Okay.
We got the beginning of the episode.
Opening scene.
Opens up where it left off from last episode, straight into the villains.
Yes. So we
And we did predictions for a couple of these villains, what their powers would be. Still have not got a glimpse of that.
got the tiniest of glimpse. We didn't get a glimpse of the girl. She just had a knife. Cuz like there was a
Yes.
confrontation between them. Shigaraki's like, "Get out of here. I don't want you." And they look up to Stain, which we'll talk about Stain later when it's relevant. But they get in a conflict. The girl, you can tell she's batshit crazy.
She is
Like,
crazy.
You could tell by her looks, but like this basically confirmed it.
That
She's
a
crazy.
nut job.
The other guy's like very mellow, it seems, but like kind of
Laid back, mellow. He's like,
yeah. He's
he's the psychopath that just kind of
at first
probably
I thought
thinks
they
about
might
what
have
he's gonna do first.
at first I thought they might have known each other, but they definitely
Don't. It's just
I don't
the
think they-
broker guy kind of he just
Yeah.
brought in people that were looking to join.
yeah. The
I guess
confrontation
that's
happens.
his job at this point.
Yeah, I think he's just a recruiter, basically. Fuck, I said it. Anyway, confrontation. Girl pulls out a knife. Shigaraki goes, bare hands, because that's his thing. And then this was the only small glimpse we had of. Well, what were their names? Let's go over their names.
Well, the guy is Dobby.
The guy is Dobby,
Yes.
and then her name was
She introduces herself.
Himiko Toga.
Yes.
Okay, so we have Toga and Dobby. Toga comes out with a knife. Dobby comes in, and there's like a small little aura around his arm, it looked like.
Yeah, I think people were saying it's a dark flame.
Because, well, we learned Dobby means
Cremation.
cremation, which has to do with flames. So that is possible. I don't know if there'll be a dark flame. It
I don't
could
know,
be.
Maybe it's similar to like Shigaragi's and the fact that instead of turning them to like
That's kind of the feeling
probably
I got.
turns to ash, I guess.
I kind of got the feeling it was kind of like a poisonish or smogish or something like that. It's hard to tell. They gave us, I think that was just a tiniest of teasers of what it could be.
Yes, I think it does a lot just to build up these characters to get you hyped enough to want to know more about them.
Yeah, it's really
without just dropping everything on you at once.
Exactly. I really want to know why he's like pieced together like that. It's just so like it's such an interesting design. Like
We'll probably get that in a later season. Or season 3, not a later season, but season 3. It'll probably go into, I'm hoping we get more of the villains and it'll go into their backgrounds so we can learn more about these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so after the little villain like confrontation, we go to opening. You know, you always got to turn up the opening for the last time. You got to crank it up. And then we go straight to the classroom and we talk about who passed and didn't pass.
Yeah, and then they do their little, I guess, twist. They actually all get to go. Yay! Yeah.
I do like how Ida brought up, he's like, hey, we're not going to trust you if you keep doing this to us. He's like, fair point. But so people who failed were Kaminari. Is her name Mina, the poison girl?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's something like that. Sugar Boy. What's his name?
The Rock Boy?
Yeah, I can't think of his name. And then Sero, because Sero was the only person who actually they won but failed.
He failed the
That's got to be the worst. Yeah, everyone passed the written, but those people failed the practical. So, yeah, they just basically... Oh my god, I caught myself saying it. So let's move on to the juicy... Well, actually, before we get to the juicy stuff, they all get together, they go shopping. Let's kind of talk about...
It's kind of like this, to be honest, I think is the weak point of the episode.
Yeah, I think it's just to...
I get their whole point was to get him out in the setting where he can meet with Shikaragi, which he does in a bit.
Yeah.
That's all this was, really. It's just building up to that.
Yeah, well, there was a small moment that we can talk about that involves kind of a relationship that is blooming or is getting kind of confirmed between Ochako and Deku.
Yes.
So clearly,
relationship that needs to happen.
Yes, like I actually support this strongly. I'm not usually one who like ships people super duper hard, but this one feels so natural and they just feel
like it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, they feel like a very good fit together.
Yes, and like everyone else realizes it except for them two.
Yeah.
Obviously we see that from
Deku's pretty damn oblivious, but Ochako is she's kind of like circling her own feelings.
Yeah, she doesn't understand her feelings yet.
Yeah, I think she's coming around to it because every time she sees him now, she thinks of what
Nail voice said.
Yeah.
About, do you like him?
And then she just runs off. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a bit since I feel like it's a very strong connection.
Yes.
And I like it because she's not just like, oh, she's a female character and her only job is to be there for the main character. Like she stands well as her own character.
Yes, and
like
it does help flush out the relationship a lot here and how they're still independent. They're not depending on each other, and she doesn't feel like
exactly
she's weak without him.
Exactly, because we even saw that back in the tournament arc where Deku's like, where she was gonna fight Bakugo, and he's like, "Hey, I got some tips for you," and she's like, "No, I need to not rely on people as much."
Yeah,
which I like because it puts her. She's not just a connection to the main character. She stands by herself, but they have a connection that was like formed.
Yeah, she's like, you could put her up as another main character,
basically,
and not just a side character.
Exactly, like she's pretty much a main character. Anyway, now to the juicy stuff. The I honestly did not see this coming. I thought this episode was just going to be chill. They were just going to like mess around the whole episode and just a solid fun episode with no like too much progression. Well, I mean, it didn't have too much progression, but this conversation,
this is, like, probably one of my favorite scenes
yes,
in the show so far.
This conversation has so much to it. It's unreal. I was so intrigued the whole time, like, because I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because he is this basically madman. Like, he has no control of his emotions whatsoever.
Exactly.
He's Shigaraki here, and you know he's not wearing his hand on his face, giving him that. I think he looks much better without the hand on his face. To be honest, like he's just so creepy.
Right.
It has that. He just like. I don't know, like
he has
like
very
villain. It's written all over.
His eye emotions are very well done.
Yes, he is. Like he's at this point where he's still trying to figure it out.
He's kind of like a kid.
Yeah, exactly. He still doesn't know why exactly he's doing what he's doing.
Exactly.
Which is why I love the scene so much, because you finally see him flushed out as a character.
Yeah.
And more of like the reasoning and logic behind him.
Yeah.
And it's more emotional than it is logic, but this is exactly the type of person he is, which gives you a glimpse of like you never know what will happen with him because of how emotional he is. So anything could happen, which gives you that the scene is very intense. So because
it's
you never know if
intense.
his emotions will break through.
Yeah.
And he will accidentally kill Deku.
Yeah, so he comes up to Deku, puts his arm around him, and it's like, hey, trying to be all casual. And at first, Deku doesn't know who it is. Well, obviously, you can't really
like,
see him, but...
Can I get your autograph?
Yeah, and then he hints at it. Well, he basically gives it away. When he's like,
he gives it away. He's like, I haven't seen you since we fought, or since the accident.
And then he wraps his hand around his neck, and I was like, okay, they're probably not going to kill Deku, but...
This is pretty...
Like, what happens if Deku fights back and a fight breaks loose?
Yeah, exactly.
We did learn that his quirk only works when he has all 5 fingers touching
I was going to mention that. Yes, we do.
So that was
we learn more about him.
Yeah, that was a cool... I like when they add small details like that. Like, it just pays off to, like, pay attention. Like, obviously, someone would think, like, oh, if he touches you, he incinerates you. But it's like, no. He has to, like, wrap all 5 fingers around you. And then that's how it works. But...
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Moving on to what they're talking about is... Shigaraki, I think, kind of hates/envies Stain. Because he has no idea why everyone kind of puts Stain on like a pedestal, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, well, he even says...
He asked Deku the reasoning behind it, because Deku's this other person that finds a way to look up to everybody, whether they're villain or not. He's that kind of guy who looks into the good of people, or at least tries to understand them so he knows how to fight them better.
Exactly.
So he's like the perfect person to ask.
Yeah, Shigaraki he's like, me and Stain are similar, so why do people talk about him? He even questioned that. He's like, we do the same thing.
Yeah, because if you break it down like he does, it basically does come out of the same. They're both just destroying things they don't like.
That is true. That's if you break it down to like its simplest.
Yeah, the simplest form.
Yeah.
And I think he doesn't have the full...
He doesn't quite understand what Stain's...
And I think this has to do with him, how he's still such just like a kid.
Yeah. So, okay, this is a lot to talk about, I feel. We'll talk about the differences between Shigaraki and Stain. So, like he said, they're killing things they don't like, which is true. But Shigaraki, I feel, does it for... We don't really know why he does it.
Yeah,
kind of like Deku
know
said.
Of his background, like
he's like, we understand Stain's reasons. We don't really understand yours. Because, like, I don't know if he does it for fun. I don't know if he does it because he was told to. I don't know if he does it because maybe he has the same ideology as Stain. It's just, we don't really know why he does it.
Yeah, we can make assumptions where we're at, because like he talks a little bit about All Might. Again, it's another, I think he does.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he does. And it's like another point where, like, you know, how he's trying to save everybody, but you can't truly save everyone or whatever.
Right.
I think his past might have to do with something with All Might not being able to save.
Yeah, okay,
like him or his family.
we can talk about that real fast. There was a tiny, like, 1 second scene where it showed, I'm pretty sure it was Shigaraki younger, and like a hand fell in front of his face that was all bloody. I feel like that has something to do with All Might not saving someone he was close to. I don't know if that was by choice or by force. Because, like, even later in the episode, you see when, I'm not trying to skip around, but this is kind of relates to this. When the police officer was talking to All Might about saving people, you kind of saw All Might's face, like, darken a bit. Like, there's something he doesn't want to say. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like he was in a situation where he either chose not to save someone for whatever reason, or was forced to choose between, like, you have to go, like, either go stop the villain or save these people. Or maybe even you can only save these people, or you can only save these people. Like, I feel like there's something there. And I feel like that's why Shigaraki wants to kill All Might. One of the reasons.
Like, one of the reasons. And if that is the case, it has to be someone close to him and that's why he was never able to fully mentally develop the way he should.
I have okay. You want to just make some predictions?
Sure.
Let's just, since we're on this topic. My prediction is he was a young kid and, like, his parents were killed by whatever reason. Like, All Might, I'm going to say All Might couldn't save them. Like, there wasn't really anything he could do, but Shigaraki views it as All Might chose not to save them.
Yes.
So I'm guessing as he lost his parents at a young age, and All Might was not directly the reason, but, like, indirectly the reason.
And I think the reason he's so mad is because All Might was still smiling.
Yeah, and that could be.
I feel like he takes... like he said, he's talking about the trash that's smiling thoughtlessly. He's talking about all the people there, but I think he takes that smiling as a way of, like, looking down upon you or not realizing the real hardships people go through and stuff, because I'm assuming if his parents did die or something because of All Might and it wasn't able to save them, but All Might's still smiling, that kind of looks fucked up, I guess, from a young age or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it looks like he's doing it to look like a hero. All Might wants people to look up to him and all be happy or whatever. But at a certain point, if someone does die and he's there, kind of looks bad to be smiling.
Right. But so that's kind of our prediction of why Shigaraki is upset. But Shigaraki kind of comes to a conclusion as to what the difference between him and Stain are, which I think it comes down to them being symbols. Because, he said it came down to All Might, which that's when I mean them being symbols, I mean All Might and Stain, not Shigaraki. So All Might is the symbol of peace. He even talked about it later. Like, that's why he smiles. He wants not only does he want to install hope and, like, happiness into innocent people, he wants to kind of install, like, fear and intimidation into villains. Like, no matter what happens, I'm here. Like, I will save the day. that might not be true. Like, he said he cannot physically save everyone, but he wants to present himself like he has the abilities to.
Yeah, and it's like a deterrent to villains.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually exactly what it is. And then Stain, on the other hand, is kind of a symbol of bettering society. Because if you look at Shigaraki and Stain, Shigaraki does it for whatever the hell reasons he wants. Stain does it because he wants to try and better society as a whole, which is a valid... He has good points. It's just he goes about it.
Not doing it in the best of way.
Right. Because like he's like, all these heroes that do it for fame, glory, and money, and all these heroes that use it for popularity, they're the ones that are
heroes.
Yeah, they're not real heroes. They're just using this system that we built to better themselves. While because Stain respects All Might, obviously, because he's like, the only one that can kill me is All Might. While All Might, on the other hand, I don't think he cares about any of that. He just wants to...
It's kind of like why he gave it the All for One to Deku, is because they do it because they want to help people.
Right.
It's like it's in their blood. It's their natural way of thinking. They, like Deku, he jumped in to save Bakugo.
He's jumped in to save lots of... Because
Yeah,
throughout the show,
like,
we saw him jump in to save Bakugo twice.
Yes. For some reason, I
Ochiko.
drew a name on his blank. Yes, he did it because in the very beginning when he didn't even have a power, he tried saving him. Like, it's just something he wants to do, and it's the same way for All Might. He's not doing it for the money, the glory,
Right.
fame, any of that.
We kind of talked about this in our last discussion. They don't really want to beat villains. They just want to save people. They just want to protect people that need it. So that's when Shigaraki comes to the conclusion. I think he finally realized, like, because it's even All for One brought it up. He has conviction now. I think what Shigaraki now wants to do is he doesn't want to just kill All Might. He wants to destroy the symbol of peace. Like, he wants to break that symbol.
He wants people to know, hey, like, it's not always great times. You're not always going to be smiling in life.
Exactly.
There's a lot of hardships that can happen, and I want to prove it
yeah.
by taking down All Might.
And also he's like...
your way of life.
Yeah.
You thinking you're safe.
He's like, basically this god that you guys have, like, I'm going to break him, and you're going to be in fear. Like, you're going to not feel safe anymore if I destroy him. And I think that's where it comes, like, in a full circle, which is weird how the biggest, most outstanding hero is also kind of like this, like, gravitational force of evil. So, like, All Might is this symbol of peace, but also it gives villains a reason to rally to kill him, if that makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
Really?
So that conversation there was lots. We probably missed some stuff.
There was a lot that happened.
There was a lot that happened.
I mean, that was the most of the episode, was this
it was
conversation.
Like almost over half of it. But can we just talk about how creepy Shigaraki looks with his smiling and shit?
Yeah, I'm telling you. He looks so much better as a villain.
All his smiles and, like, the emotion in his eyes really stood out. Like, he looks so messed up in the head. So messed up in the head, dude.
That's why, dude, I'm so excited to like explain his backstory and why he's so demented. Because they're trying to get it to a way to where you can probably, or at least I hope they do it, where, like, you can feel and understand him better.
Yeah. So.
And then we have Uraka to thank for saving the day.
Yeah, that was okay. That moment got super intense because I was like, Deku knows to keep his cool, because even Shigaraki said, he's like, I can kill about 30 people before they stop me.
Exactly.
Uraraka,
if he gets stopped.
Yeah, if he gets stopped. Uraraka is just basically very concerned about Deku, because I don't think she recognized him, because she didn't fight him.
She didn't.
Yeah, she didn't know who he was.
until Deku said who it was, because he was walking away, and Deku called out to him,
Yeah.
and then that's when she realized, wait, what?
Yeah, she's like, oh shit. Because she was just concerned. She's like, oh, this guy's clearly not friendly. You don't just sit with your friend and choke the shit out of him.
Especially when Deku has this fear all over his face
Yeah.
the whole time.
So Shigaraki leaves, and then we get a small scene. Well, they report it to the police, obviously. We kind of touched on this, how All Might and that guy are like,
yeah,
or All Might, something might have happened, and All Might's just basically like, yeah, I try to save as many people as possible, even though it's not possible.
Yeah, you can't be everywhere at once. And then it's just, and then they do something that I like. I wish this would be done in more episodes, where they just kind of play the ending theme song and they still give you scenes.
Yes, that is one of my favorite things anime do.
First of all, I wish they would do it in almost every episode besides like episode 1. They give you the real ending, because it gives you more time.
That is
so
true.
You can get like extra 2 minutes of scenes.
Yeah, but one of my favorite moments in anime, just in general, like they either play the ending song, or maybe there's a badass fight scene and they play the opening song, or they do a throwback to the very first opening song. Like, I know this is off topic, but that's one of my favorite things ever. And then we get a little few scenes, like we see
glimpses into everyone.
Yeah, Deku starts training, Ida goes to the hospital, Todoroki visits his mom, which I'm so glad they're keeping that a story. Like, I'm glad they didn't just show like, oh, he visits his mom one time, you can apply, he keeps doing it. I'm glad they keep showing it.
Yes, and they're getting prepared for their summer vacation.
Yeah, and then the ending scene. And we go back to this is the big bad. The main boss, as you will.
Yes, the master.
All for one.
Yes. Which we did have Deku ask Shigaraki about him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know too much about.
Yeah, Shigaraki's just like, I don't know.
He just tells me what to do.
So he didn't say much in this last scene, but he said a few interesting things. First, he's basically giving Shigaraki the reins. He's like, you do whatever the hell you want, but if you need help, I will step in. And then the second interesting thing he said was, I want him to become the next me. And it showed like a brain.
Yes, so I wonder if it's like he's implanting, because he's been obviously doing a lot of tests with these brains, and that's what makes those
the Nomu.
Yeah, the Nomu, and I wonder if he's trying to implant his mind into these brains.
Maybe he's trying to find a new body, or maybe he just wants to. He
might use Shigaraki's body or something like that. Obviously, if he wants to become the next him.
Yeah, he either is trying to like pass on his mind to a different body, or he just wants to pass on all his like
abilities,
all his ideals and abilities onto him. Which I'm honestly not sure which one it is. The way he said it, I'm thinking he wants to basically groom Shigaraki into him. And like, kind of like how, this is actually a very interesting parallel. It's kind of like All Might. So we have One for All, who passes it on to this hero who wants to save people, Deku, and then we have All for One, who wants to pass his stuff on to this guy who wants to kill the symbol of peace and like basically kill everyone's like sense of safetyness. So
yeah,
it's just an interesting parallel how like the original All for One, One for All holder is now lined up with All Might, and then they both have disciples who are basically against each other.
The only difference here, we don't know if the villain All for One is doing it for the same reasons. I feel like because he is the master villain, he himself does not want to exactly die or go on.
Right.
That's why I think it's more in the path of him taking over a body or
like,
something. that.
converting himself into like that brain we saw, and then,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
implanting
I think
that.
that's why he's been doing all these tests, is to try to perfect it.
It's either that or maybe like they haven't repaired his head yet, because you can kind of see how, like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and I like how he's kind of like that background. Like every so often we'll go to him, and it'll be like this mysterious shit. So I guess that's the episode.
That is the episode. So I guess it's
rating time.
Time to rate and say what we think about the episode.
All right, you can go first.
All right, I will say this is probably like one of my favorite episodes from the show, just because the intensity, like, even though there's no combat or anything, it's just so good.
Yes.
But to say this a little bit is, I don't think it's a great season finale. I do think it would be great for like a season opener or a certain point because of how it builds everything up, which I guess that's kind of what you want from a season finale, to build it up for the next season.
Yeah.
But I feel like this doesn't quite do it as well for the next season. I think it would do it much better as like an episode that's an opener.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I feel like they kind of put all their punch into the episodes before. But this is kind of like, yeah, if you guys made it this far, you're obviously hooked. So we'll give you a small teaser. That's exactly. Kind of what it felt like.
Yeah. But other than that, it has one of my favorite scenes. Yeah, there's some lull moments. So I give it like an 8.5, I would say. Maybe an 8 to 8.5 range, somewhere in there. Which is kind of weird to say considering it's one of my favorite episodes, but
right.
Well, I kind of said why, but that's where I sit. What about you?
All right. So I would actually probably give it a 9, even though I gave last episode's a 9. I really liked, like, that conversation between Deku and Shigaraki had me so into it. I think I could give it a 9. Cause like I kind of felt like it was a bait and switch episode, like, because we didn't see the preview, which I think the preview would have shown Shigaraki, which would have kind of ruined this moment. Because it kind of felt like you were saying, like, not much is going to happen. It's just going to be fun, enjoyable. And then, bam, Shigaraki shows up. And I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen? And the way it was intense and kept me on my seat, and it gave a bunch of context, I really enjoyed it. Even though it was dialogue heavy, it was very satisfying to me.
Yeah, if it was like a season opener or a couple episodes in, I think I would have gave it a 10. But
right, I see
I just don't feel like it's the strongest season finale.
Right, there's definitely, because most season finales we expect all this shit to happen, or like this super big reveal or whatever. But yeah. So you give it an 8, 8.5, somewhere in there. We'll say 8.25.
Yeah, that works.
I'll give it a 9.
All right. Do we want to rate the season as a whole real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Not? All right.
Yeah, go ahead. You want me
All right.
to start?
Season for a whole, I give it an 8. I think 8 tops. I do love the Stain arc, and I love this last few, like, the last episode and this episode. Like, I was not a huge fan of like the exam part. I felt like some of the characters didn't get enough time, and other characters got way too much time. It didn't feel like the pacing seemed a little off in some of the exams. And because of that, I kind of give it that 8.
So my rate, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I would give it a 9. Okay, from like the very first episode, the whole what was it called? The tournament arc, but what was the actual event called? I can't even remember.
I don't remember either.
It was basically the UA version of the Olympics. I honestly can't remember what it's called. I enjoyed all of that, like all of it. It was kind of a bit after that. It kind of, well, no, the Stain arc was absolutely beast. But yes. the post exams, there were some moments where it's like, oh, we could have maybe develop that better or whatever. But I think overall, I can't say too many things bad about it. Like my rating's obviously like how much I enjoy it and like
Yeah.
if it makes sense or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'd give it a 9 as a season, which is an upgrade from what I gave the first season. I gave the first season an 8, I think.
I don't know what I gave the first season. I don't remember. It was probably like an 8 or 7 or something like that.
So 8 and 9. I keep saying 9.
Yeah.
But I'm being honest.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I can get down behind you.
And then I'm excited for the 3rd season.
Yes.
Any
and We'll obviously
predictions?
be doing reviews for the 3rd season. Any predictions for the 3rd
Just
season?
the 3rd season as a whole. Like what you think like
This is, well, they're getting ready to go into their little summer camp, training camp. I truly hope something happens during the training camp. Maybe not at the training camp, but the villains actually start coming together and destroying like cities and
That's
stuff
what
like that.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say maybe while they're at the training camp, the villains maybe the villains attack UA again, or maybe they attack just the city in general, or maybe they send them all throughout like the city. Like you go to here.
I feel like attacking UA would kind of be a little weaker point because they already did that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, they do have newer, stronger villains now, but I think they don't have enough that are in their ranks.
Or maybe they'll try and capture All Might or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hoping they focus a lot more on the villains in the 3rd season.
I feel like they will. They kind of have built up these 2 additional villains as long as developing Shigaraki pretty well.
Yeah, and we still haven't got the other villains they showed like previews of after Stain's defeat or whatever, when it showed all the villains going through
Yeah, I feel like we'll see
and like hiding and stuff. So I'm hoping we see a lot more of them. They start joining, and I hope they go on like a reign of terror and getting new villains to join and stuff and just kind of like build up. So
right.
And then the training camp kind of gets like maybe canceled
Like,
or
cut
something because
short.
like, all right, we need everybody on hand.
Yeah, like everyone's in chaos.
Yeah,
I wonder
exactly.
if there's gonna ever be a point where All Might's status of the symbol of peace kind of falters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I actually...
Because, like, he obviously
I
can't
hope
do
that
it
a little
full
bit.
time. I kind of do. I just want to see how they do it. Because, like, we'll just touch on this quickly. But he can't be there full time as much as he can before. So maybe more people will start questioning, like, where's All Might? Like, why does he not show up as often?
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting, like, plot point they could take. But
Maybe the villains reveal, hey, he actually can't be this all the time or something.
yeah,
like,
maybe they, like, call him out. Maybe they get, like, insider info that they know or something. Maybe they, like, publicly call him out, like, we dare All Might to come see us. Or, like, we know All Might's secret or whatever.
Yeah, something like
or,
that.
like,
That'd be
he's not
awesome.
who you all think he is. Anyway.
All right, that does it for this discussion of Season 2 finale encounter of My Hero Academia.
Oh,
Okay.
just before we end it, we are going to do seasonal anime. We have a few picked out.
Yes, so our first one, I think we're doing Black Clover,
We're going to do Black Clover.
and there's a couple others. I guess we can keep those as a surprise.
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know.
keep-
You'll find
sure.
out when we post them. They're a little longer off than Black Clover because Black Clover is coming up quick.
Right.
Be sure again, let us know what your thoughts are, what you thought about the episode, your ratings. Maybe there's some points you agree with or disagree with. Just any sort of feedback will help.
Exactly. Hey, if you've watched this much, if you've made it this far, hell, you've basically subscribed and liked. So so just do it.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed. So until next time, peace out.
See ya.